Hello everyone, welcome to Trackside with Tom. Today I am here, my name is Tom Hogan, I am the owner and operator of Steel Highway Webcams, and I am very happy to be here with you today. We are going to take a little tour of the upper Mississippi River this morning, or I guess this afternoon. It is in fact afternoon now, and I am definitely excited to see everyone on here, so thank you for tuning in today. We are starting out the day up in Trempealeau, Wisconsin, and we are, I just got a very interesting message, but we will definitely get to that in just a moment here. We're starting out today in Trempealeau, Wisconsin. Hello, Michael Richmond and Paul over in Stevens Point, and Barry up in Butler Junction. Thank you all for tuning in today. So, we are going to start out. This was a train that literally just went by Trempealeau about 10-12 minutes ago here. And we have an eastbound going by the Trempealeau, Wisconsin webcam. And while I am rolling this by, I am actually going to throw out a message that was just shared with me that the CTC is going to be cut in from Sebula Junction to CP24, which is where the new south siding switch of Bellevue is going to be located. That is going to be cut in tomorrow. And what's even more exciting about this is when I put in the Bellevue webcam, I also put in ATCS equipment. So we are going to be, and this is kind of a short little manifest that we got here by Trempealeau. We're going to basically be able to immediately, immediately monitor the CTC on the Marquette sub that the Canadian Pacific is going to be cutting in. And new Railcams coming to the channel, yes. Yes, there are. I'm going to back up here a little further and find another train on the Trempealeau webcam. And then we'll talk a little bit about webcam locations that are coming up next year. So let's back this up a little bit because I believe that our next roll by is going to be a westbound container train. And as he's approaching here, yeah, we see we've got 3 BNSF motors and lots of JB Hunt Intermodal. Big block of it there on the head end. So, hello Alan Hunt, Barry, and Railcam, Railfanner, and more. If you're new to the program, welcome. I don't know that I've seen you in the chat before, so welcome to Trackside with Tom. For the locations next year, I have a couple of locations that I have confirmed for next year. Some of those include the museum at Duluth, Minnesota, and a location at the restored Illinois Central Depot in Independence, Iowa. Those are just a couple of them that I can think of right off the top of my head, but definitely have plans. There's other places that are kind of in various stages of discussions, and there's a nose out DPU, a couple of nice clean looking units there on the end of that stack train. So. Yeah, I've got ambitious plans to be able to get some webcams put up next year and really get a lot of exciting stuff done during the course of next year. Right now, we are just shut down for the winter. There's not going to be any more webcam installs that are going to happen, most likely until about April, maybe March if we get an early warm-up. But no, nothing that I've confirmed in Missouri for next year yet. Nothing in Missouri yet next year, but definitely some good leads, and some of those have been provided by you, Michael, so hopefully we will get some more coverage in the state of Missouri. It just hasn't quite played out just yet. And as I back this up, what we're going to see is that I believe that there was another stack train that I found here. I'm going back through the log. I know that there was a long dead spell in between trains, so I just got to keep going back to look. And one of these, I believe that we found it here, and then I found it by the East Dubuque camera as well a couple hours later. So we're actually going to be able to do a case study in travel time from Trempealeau through the crew change point at La Crosse and then down to East Dubuque. So, as we back this up a little further, we're going to go all the way back. Here we go. I think I found what I am looking for. This was at 8:37 this morning, and we have an eastbound container train. And as this guy is approaching, we will just say thank you to our hosts at the Trempealeau Hotel in Trempealeau, Wisconsin. This is this webcam is actually set up on the band shell at their location. So 8:37 in the morning. So pay attention to that time, because I'm pretty sure that this is the stack train that I found going by East Dubuque, literally just within the previous half hour or so. And we see that this guy is actually a Z train, so he's got the trailers on flat cars, or piggybacks, pigs as they're sometimes referred to. And this guy is cruising through here. I'd say he's doing all of 60 plus miles an hour going west. Sometimes these are also referred to as mail trains as well, with these UPS and FedEx trailers. And being that Christmas is at the end of the week, I felt like it was appropriate to highlight some of these mail trains, as they can sometimes be referred to. And, there's going to be Christmas presents in there and deliveries that they're going to be making to people. So there was the rear of that. Now, remember where we're at. 8:37 this morning is when that guy went by Trempealeau. We'll come back to him when we jump down to East Dubuque a little bit later. And, we got the detector going off also. The other thing that we pointed out was all of these bridge deck pieces that look like they're sitting along the right-of-way here at Trempealeau. Now, I can't say for certain, but they look to me for all the world like bridge deck pieces. If someone knows that it is something else, feel free to chime in and say so. But that is definitely my belief as to what they are, that they're going to be doing a bridge deck replacement sometime, probably next summer. And it might even be the bridge that's just a few miles to the north here over the Trempealeau River. So, as we back up a little further, now we're at 7:43 this morning. We have another eastbound container train. So, the railroads refer to these Z trains as basically the highest priority trains. They are the ones that have the piggybacks in them. And here we've got some express boxes on the head end. Again, more UPS trailers. And yes, Michael, that's absolutely right. UPS refers to this as peak season. I believe the railroads do as well, for that matter. And definitely lots of UPS trailers. And we've got some Schneider boxes there. Martin, JB Hunt. Just all manner of different kinds of containers and all of these. We used to refer to it as less than carload. This is all stuff that half a century ago would have all gone in boxcars. But now it goes in these containers. They get lifted off of the trailers and the chassis. And yes, time-sensitive cargo. That's absolutely right. The Z trains are what's considered the highest priority. And another nose-out DPU. Very nice there, BNSF. And then we will back up just a little bit further. I think there was one more roll-by that I found by Trempealeau that I wanted to highlight. And yes, the Z trains are absolutely the highest priority cargo. They're generally given the highest speed limits. Whatever the track speed is good for. On the UP double main, it's 70. On the CP, it's in places it's 60 or 70 miles an hour. Here on the BNSF, I believe it's 60, but I could be wrong. At least on this particular part of the BNSF. And so, as we go back here a little bit further, I do believe that I found the last... Oh, we got to go back just a hair further. There we go. We'll get this guy by the head end. And these Z trains are the ones that carry the truly high priority cargo and as Barry said, the time sensitive stuff. And that's generally how the highest priority trains are classified, as is the Z trains. And then after that, you have your standard intermodal trains, which are considered, they're classified as I trains on the Union Pacific. And I forget what the designation, Q maybe over, no, Q is on that would be on the CN. All right, so we have our next eastbound that is approaching by Trempealeau. We're all the way back at 6:42 this morning. And this guy is kind of flying by as well. Although I believe this is actually a manifest train. Not going quite as fast as the Z train was, but a big block of intermodal perishables here on the, or not intermodals, but perishables and mechanical reefers and all running on the head end. So yes, it's 60 on the St. Croix sub. Oh, you think it is Q for the BNSF? So maybe I had that right the first time. All right. So yes, we have Adam here today. We have Eric. We have, pardon me, Andrew over in Des Moines. And CNP204, welcome to the program. I don't know that I've seen you comment before, but welcome to Trackside with Tom. And, we had a little bit of, that's my kids call aliens, blocking out the camera. But, anyway, so keep in mind now that timestamp that we had for that intermodal train going by Trempealeau, because when we're done with this roll-by, we're going to jump over to East Dubuque, and we're going to see that same train, a couple of these same trains actually. And there's his DPU going by. A couple of these same trains going by East Dubuque, as we were fortunate to get numerous eastbounds early this morning by Trempealeau. So, moving right along, we are going to jump over to the East Dubuque West camera, and as we back up along here, I don't think I'm going to have to go too far back. Oh, we have an auto rack train. We'll give that guy a shot. Sent you a new container that by me you can show off on here if you'd like, taken in Neosho, Missouri. Interesting. Well, I don't know if I'm going to have a moment to pull up Facebook, but we do have the BNSF. This is a westbound going through East Dubuque, and a westbound auto rack train. There was a Ferromex auto rack, KCS, CSX. Always interesting to see. There's NS, another KCS, and a silver-sided auto rack. Usually they're yellow, but occasionally you see UP or some of these other ones that have the silver sides. BNSF with an orange auto rack there. And the speed limit is slower going through East Dubuque, just so that everybody knows. The trains really don't fly through here because of all the turnouts and the interlocking that they go through, and there's some jogs in the track, and BNSF really does not go, and the CN for that matter, just don't really go through East Dubuque very quickly. I did see a CN auto rack go by there. We're going to get all the Class 1s represented. There's UP, nice big shield there on the side, another CN. And always interesting to see some of the graffiti that's on here as well. So thank you everyone for tuning in. We got 20 people online right now. Appreciate everyone taking the time. Just some programming notes while we're rolling by this auto rack train. Tomorrow, going to be online at noon again tomorrow. And after that, I don't really have a set schedule laid out at this time. And the reason being is that I'm going to have, starting on Friday, actually Thursday afternoon, they only have a half day. I'm going to have all of my kids home with me starting Thursday afternoon. And we are actually supposed to have a massive blizzard here in Iowa and the upper Midwest during the day on Thursday and Friday. So really not going to be traveling much. But beyond that, I just don't know how realistic it's going to be to try to do these trackside episodes with with all the kids, all 5 kids here at home with me at the same time. So I'm just going to kind of wing it a little bit. Cameras will show a white horse in the snowstorm Thursday, Friday, Saturday this week. Yes, that's right. We do have some cameras that'll be well positioned to document the coming snowstorm that's supposed to hit Iowa, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Northern Illinois. I think that it'll be very interesting to see what plays out. But in terms of trackside, I do plan on trying to do a primetime episode sometime during the week between Christmas and New Year's. I do not know what night that's going to be yet, but I am going to at least try to get online and to do that. And I think we've got, yep, there comes our DPU. BNSF is all about those nose-out DPUs today, apparently. So you're just going to have to watch Facebook, watch your email. I'll try to announce as best I can when I know what's going on. But for the most part, there's not really going to be a set schedule for that week between Christmas and New Year's, because I just can't say for certain exactly what I can commit to at this time. So now we have an eastbound, and this in fact is one of our eastbounds that we saw go by the Trempealeau camera earlier this morning. You see how he's got these express boxes here on the head end, So we saw a couple of eastbounds go by. I think this was the eastbound from... I think this was the eastbound that was from 648 this morning. Maybe someone can... I don't know. I didn't, of course, write it down here. But this one is a Z train. It's got the UPS trailers on it, for instance. Yes, an H1 second out as well. I noticed that. It even had the wagon wheel logo on the front. And so, yeah, figure about 5 hours or so of running time, including the crew change point there at La Crosse, to be able to get from Trempealeau down to East Dubuque. And so for those of you that wanted to answer the question, well, what's the... Yes, Estes Express lines, that's right. Yes, so the question, of course, is, what is the running time from Trempealeau to East Dubuque? And we're going to get a couple of examples of that now, as we're going to see these trains go by East Dubuque after they've gone by Trempealeau earlier in the morning. And here is our long line of J.B. Hunt intermodal containers lined up. Something else that's kind of interesting about this, so with these well cars, they come in singles, and they come in 3-packs, and they come in 5-packs. And the 3-packs and 5-packs are articulated so that the wells share a common set of trucks. So that was a 3-pack that just went by. That's a single with those 2 Martin trailers on it. And there's another 3-pack. So once you start to pick these out a little bit, there's an OTTX that's a 3-pack going by. Once you start to pick these out a little bit, you start to realize some of the... so this one is actually... This is a 5-pack that's going by right now. And then you've got these spine cars that carry the... excuse me. That carry the piggyback trailers, or the pigs. And sometimes they carry single trailers without a wheel chassis also. And there is the rear of the train, and there is our DPU. So just some examples of running time from Trempealeau to East Dubuque, and a little bit of commentary on how exactly... And now you're going to see East Dubuque was really busy this morning. And as we jump ahead just a little bit here, I think... Oh, you know what? I know what I did wrong. Nope, here we go. He's coming. The gates are coming down. All right, we got this right now. So as you're watching some of these container trains go by, you can look and see the singles, the 3-packs, and the 5-packs, and it can give you an idea as to where some of these containers were loaded at common places. So this time we have a manifest going westbound by East Dubuque. And I don't have any confirmation of this. This is just a presumption on my part. But this would make sense if it was the BRC to Northtown train. And the steel coil cars, the empty lumber center beams, those are things that I would look for on that type of a train. And I'll admit I could be totally wrong, but this definitely seems to me like there's some ATWs, BNSF, a GATX boxcar, interesting. Don't see those very often. GATX usually has their initials on tanks, so, and hoppers as well. These TTX boxcars, those are lease boxcars. They can basically be sent anywhere, done anything, whoever wants to pay the car hire for them to use them. That's the TTX, OTTX, HTTX, that's all That's all run by that's an articulated auto rack right there. But those are all run by a leasing company that just sends their equipment out to whoever wants to use it. There's another steel coil car, actually a couple of them going by. So so in Duluth, the camera that I'm going to put up in Duluth is actually going to be at the, let me think if I've got the name of this right. I believe it's the North Shore and Scenic Railroad Museum. And, let me see here. North Shore. No, that's not right. So, Duluth, Minnesota. Yes, it's the Lake Superior Railroad Museum. That's what it is. And they operate out of the historic Union Depot in Duluth, Minnesota. So, the webcam in Duluth is actually not going to see any of the Class 1s. It is going to be located at the museum. And there's the rear of our manifest that's just gone by. So we'll back up and find another one. There's also going to be just outside of Duluth, there's going to be a camera at the Munger Corporation, or the Munger Tavern, which is going to have line of sight to the CN on their line where they descend. Yes, North Shore Scenic Railroad and Lake Superior Railroad Museum. That's what I was getting confused. Thank you for the clarification there. So next we're going to see the... Oh, we're going to bump this down just a little bit. Next we're going to see, this is the Dubuque Local. We have the 4933 and the 9574, which is a wide cab Jeep, heading back toward Dubuque. They've just gotten done. They've just gotten done with their interchange work and industry work, and they're heading back to the CN yard in Dubuque. Yes, all right. The TTX Corporation. Yes, they are jointly owned by the Class 1s. That's right, and their fleet of equipment is basically just kind of sent wherever. But they do have a pooled fleet of equipment which is used. So there goes the CN Dubuque Local heading back toward home. And as you will see, he was actually waiting on a eastbound. Yes, double long hood forwards as well. That's right. And yes, that is the 586 local, and he's just heading back over to Dubuque. He had apparently got a late start maybe, or just had a lot of work in East Dubuque. I don't know for sure. Yes. Happy holidays, Stephen Kern. Thank you for that. Good to see you on board here today. And now, at 11:14 this morning, we're going to see one of our westbounds, or excuse me, eastbounds that went by the Trempealeau camera early this morning. Got some FedEx boxes there on the head end. JB Hunt. I think that this one... Oh, they haven't had people for the 586 for the last 2 days. Well, that's interesting. Manifest Live in Neenah. I don't know if we're going to jump over to Neenah today or not, but I do appreciate the heads up. Thank you. And hello, Craig. And hello, Robert from West Virginia. Good to see you guys as well. And CSXGE 44AC, my favorite such a mouthful to be able to say that online. But yes, that's always good to see you guys. Merry Christmas to all. So as we get this guy rolled by, we're seeing this, again, another example of our running time from Trempealeau to East Dubuque. And as we continue along here, we're going to see that this is another BNSF Z train, although going considerably slower than when we rolled it by the first time. And so as we continue along here and roll this guy by, I am going to just briefly say that it's time to renew your subscription to Steel Highway. So if you have a current subscription and you want to keep getting magazine issues in 2023, go to steel-highway.com and make sure and order your magazine subscription or renew if you haven't already. I have a lot of exciting plans for next year. There's some more UPS trailers and a JB Honda Intermodal that's actually on a wheel chassis. That's interesting. Usually you just see them lifted and put onto the well cars instead. FedEx Multimodal. Yes, I think that we're going to have a white Christmas throughout the entire upper Midwest this year. I don't think that there is any doubt about that. One of the things that we're going to realize is that later this week when we get blasted with a blizzard, that there's going to be a lot of testing of equipment, the Steel Highway webcams, of seeing what's going to keep running in a blizzard and what's not. And so there's the rear of our Z train, and again, about 5 hours or so, 4.5, 5 hours running time to get from Trempealeau down to East Dubuque. Oh, that is not what I intended to do. Hang on a second here. We have a couple more roll-bys to check out at East Dubuque. I wanted to find that East Dubuque, or the Dubuque local, going west or going east earlier this morning, and I just haven't made it back far enough to be able to see what time he went by. But we're just going to keep going back and looking to see, because there was a fair amount of traffic on the BNSF at East Dubuque this morning. So we're going to go ahead and play that. And oh, Barry, what did you do to get... Hang on a second. Oh, you used too many exclamation points, Barry. That's why you got timed out by Nightbot. I'm sorry about that. Oh, my. Yes, it is going to snow later in the week, though. And Barry Anderson, I know, and you, anyone else, honestly, that's out driving for a living, make sure and take care out there, because it's going to be really nasty. So, we have another eastbound manifest this time. Going by the East Dubuque West camera. And some of the logos are starting to peel off of these BNSF hoppers. This is something I should have probably been doing for a while. But I'm going to put in the Steel Highway website so that people have that if they want to check that out. So this one was interesting to me because this is this long string of hoppers or reefers that's going by. But I believe that he made a pickup in La Crosse or somewhere en route because he had some extra manifest there on the head end ahead of the mechanical reefers that were on the head end. All of these refrigerated box cars were on the head end when he went by Trempealeau. And now they were, I don't know, a dozen cars deep or whatever they were. 9:35 on the CN local eastbound. Well, we're getting close. We're about an hour away. So we'll definitely get to that here pretty shortly as well. And as we get going a little bit here, we're going to see that this guy made pretty good time getting down to East Dubuque as well. So the BNSF isn't messing around. They're moving some freight today. As we get another long cut of mechanical reefers here going by, those cryotrans hoppers, and the BNSF with the blue and green wagon wheel logo. And then we've got some private hoppers here going by as well. A lot of different shapes and sizes being represented as we see these hoppers go by. I do not have the don't have the lineage particularly on all of them, but as this guy is continuing rolling by, we are going to go back and continue proceeding back until we find exactly where the CN local went by the first time. The other thing that I've noticed watching East Dubuque and Trempealeau as I was doing my show prep today was that we are definitely seeing that the BNSF is not going for these crazy long manifest trains that we've seen lately. They seem to have toned that down a little bit with the dropping air temperatures outside. So I found that interesting as well. What else have we got here? Let's keep going back. And we are going to find, I think this might be it, maybe. Go back as we have the rear of our manifest with a nose out DPU going by. And we're going to jump back here a little further. And we are seeing we're at 8:58 this morning. So I must have jumped by the CN local. I guess I didn't realize I'd gone back that far. So we'll have to advance a little bit and find him back at 9:35. But here we have a eastbound coming down Main 2 this time. And I believe that we have a CSX leader, followed by a couple of different varieties of the BNSF paint scheme. A swoosh and a cigar band, and then this would be a loaded ethanol train in all likelihood. It's kind of hard to make out those placards, but with the single cover car on the head end separating the engines from the tanks, that would be my best guess, is that this is a loaded ethanol train coming down probably from somewhere in Minnesota and heading 4 points east. So as we do this, I'm going to go back just a little. Oil train. I thought that they didn't have buffer cars on the oil trains. I thought that they had done something with the, they made alterations to the oil to make it non-hazardous. But yeah, if it's an oil train, then so be it. I stand corrected. Let's go over to 9:35 this morning and see exactly what we've got here. 9:34 and 58 seconds. And we are looking for the BNSF still uses buffer cars here. Okay, well that makes some sense then. Again, I couldn't make out what the placards say, so it's really tough to tell. But, you know, we're looking at 9:35 here, and I am not seeing the eastbound CN local. So hopefully, maybe we'll have to go back a little bit further and see where that guy came across. Anyway, I think that was, let's go back here a little bit further and see what else we can find. But the, oh, we got one more here. One more eastbound as the parade of eastbounds continues on the BNSF. And we are seeing, this time we have got a single leader on BNSF. Oh, 940. Okay. Well, we'll look at 940 then in just a moment. See, we got a lot of snow on these scrap cars. Came down from Minnesota. And I know that there's places further north and further west that have gotten a lot more snow. Only looking at East Dubuque here, looking at the ground, there's barely enough snow on the ground to really even cover the ballast very effectively. So, let's see here. We need to go back to about 3:10 or so. Let's see here. 9:33. All right, 9:40. So just a couple more minutes. There, I think we found it. Here he comes. So there is that wide cab Jeep leading the GT Jeep and going eastbound across the trackage rights with the BNSF. There was a family lines hopper. That's something you don't see too often. But otherwise, pretty normal consist for the CN Dubuque local to go over and start doing his work on the Illinois side. So thanks for the time there, Craig. Definitely appreciate it. And now we are going to jump over, actually, to Griffith, Indiana. And I know, we do give Griffith, Indiana a lot of love. And that is definitely something that I do enjoy. But I have a specific reason for going over here. Yes, Jeep, that's right. Jeep, baby. A Yardmaster. Good to see you as well. So, I had fielded a few questions recently about the CN using the Grand Trunk. It would be Railroad west of this location. And that somebody had commented to me that they see all this traffic going around the Y, what's called the Joliet Y, which is on the south connection on this side, which allows trains to get from the J, the Madison sub, over to go eastbound on the South Bend sub toward Michigan. And they wanted to know, does the CN ever use the South Bend sub to go across the diamond from left to right, from top left to the right, and actually use the Elsdon sub and the CSX trackage rights to get up into downtown Chicago. And I actually found 2 examples of that this morning, and I actually believe this was probably a pair of trains that was, eastbound and westbound pair of the same train. We do have a scanner in Griffith, Indiana. There's actually not very much scanner traffic to listen to because everything is done via CTC. Unless if there's maintenance away out there to talk to, the trains really do not spend a lot of time talking to anyone as they go through this area. Sometimes you will hear the local talk to the dispatcher saying, hey, I'm in Griffith Yard. I need to get lined over to Kirk. And you'll hear things like that on occasion. But for the most part, there just isn't a lot of scanner traffic to even listen to. So that is one of the big reasons why, even though there is a scanner radio here, there just isn't really a whole lot to listen to. And so as I continue to scroll back through the train traffic this morning, what we're going to see is that somewhere back here, there was in fact a couple of moves. Here, I think I found the first one, or maybe this was even the second one. I don't know for sure. All right. We've got the gates down, and we have got an actual South Bend sub move going across. Yeah, this is 918. This is the eastbound move, and this is a solid auto rack train. Do they call out signal indications? I have not heard. I don't know that I've heard any crews call out signal indications as they go by this area. I can't say for certain that it's never happened. Obviously, I don't sit here and watch this 24 hours a day. I just don't think that I've observed it myself. So thank you to the 30 people that are logged in watching us this afternoon. Always appreciate that. So this is what I was talking about. A train coming off of, or coming out of Chicago, using the Elsdon sub and the South Bend sub, and going across the Diamonds to head toward Michigan and Ontario to the east. And this is the move that was being asked. Does this move ever get made? Does this move ever get made? And so here's one example of it. This is a auto rack train and going eastbound across the Diamonds and heading off on the South Bend sub. Now the other thing that I will say, is that there is a fair amount of traffic that comes out of the Kirk Yard and goes east on the South Bend sub as well. But because that connection is not close enough to be within the scope of this camera, and even if we turn the right direction, you wouldn't really see them because of a huge grove of trees over that direction, that those are moves that we just don't see from this exact camera location. Yes, this auto train came off the BNSF Chillicothe sub to the GTW. Right. So this would have been this is an interchange move that's coming from the BNSF. The point being, it is actually utilizing the Grand Trunk up in downtown Chicago. And as we go back, we're only going to go back about, 15 minutes or so. I believe we're going to see the counterpart to this train. And it was amazing how close the timing of this worked out when I was researching it. So, yes, the Elsdon sub goes to the south end of Corwith Yard. Right. And that is, let's see here. If I keep backing up a little bit further, I think that what we're going to find is right about here. I literally went back 18 minutes. These guys had to have met on the double main within 10 miles or so of this location. Right, so this isn't a regular move. But it's fascinating that we got this, which I believe is the westbound counterpart of that auto train that showed up literally within minutes of when the eastbound showed up. And so I do recognize there's not a lot of traffic that utilizes this particular direction of travel. But this is the example. This is what I have. And because the question literally came up yesterday and this pair of trains showed up this morning, I felt like that this was an excellent example of what kind of traffic does use the Elsdon sub. And this seems to be the example of one of the types of traffic that you might see. Just another E2XX train. Yes, that would that might just be the case. But there isn't a lot of traffic. The question is a valid one. The CSX, the CSX trackage rights just aren't used particularly often. The CN is much more prone to running trains from the South Bend sub onto the J, bypassing their way around the west side of the Chicago suburbs, and then going into one of their yards or going all the way up to the Waukesha sub and heading up into Wisconsin. This is E2616119. Thank you, Craig. Always appreciate the help. Oh, 270. Well, all right. Fair enough. There's a CP auto rack with the beaver pelt logo on. You don't see those very often either. So, now, Craig, are you able to... I don't know if you know for sure, but is my theory correct here? Is this an actual pair of trains that we're seeing? Seen a manifest off the Elsdon eastbound, then east onto the Madison. It used the closest connection in the foreground. Yes. And those are trains that are, I assume that those are transfer moves that are going to Kirkyard to get switched out. I've definitely seen that style of move as well. This is called the CSXY, I believe. The track that's the closest to the caboose. That is what they refer to as the CSXY, which is a reference to the CSX trackage rights going up the Elsdon sub. And then on the far side, they call it the Joliet Y because that's the connection to get onto the J and head toward Joliet. So, but yes, thank you for the clarification also there, Noah. Definitely appreciate it. And the question that was asked was specific to these moves going east and west across the diamonds on the South Bend sub. Let's see here. Any day now on the CPKC merger. Well, any day. The CP's getting ready for it. They're cutting in CTC tomorrow on the... They're cutting in CTC tomorrow on the south end of the Marquette sub. So they're ready. They're ready to rock and roll as soon as this merger happens. Eastbound is needed. Auto empties build to CN for Michigan. All right. Also good to know. Yeah, Ferromex, NS, all kinds of good stuff. Canadian Pacific Railway, CSX. You really can. You can get just about every Class 1 on these moves that go, these auto rack moves that go by. So, E271 is 7 days a week, Battle Creek to Salem. All right, well, good to know. Thank you again for the information. Always appreciate it. And now we are, as we're starting to wind the program down here a bit, there's nothing lined across the CN at Griffith right now at all. So it's not even like we have something to wait for. But I am going to back up a little further and see if we can get ourselves the always elusive Death Star duo. So as we go back here a little further, I do find, all right, So as we go back here a little further, we have a CN eastbound that is utilizing the Joliet Y. It's got a City Rail, or former City Rail engine, second out. And he's rounding the Joliet Y to go from the Madison sub onto the South Bend sub, head for Michigan. And I did not find an example of what Noah was talking about, but there are moves that take these. All right, there are moves that take the connection track here in the foreground as well. Here's another eastbound move, but this guy is coming up main 1 on the Madison sub and heading straight for Kirkyard. Got some doors open on the long hood. Makes me wonder if they had some issues with that UP engine on their trip toward Chicago. And 7:49 in the morning. So with this, and again, Craig, if you've got any information, runs Elsdon so they can pick up at Markham southbound. Gotcha. Is this our 337 coming in from Waterloo and showing up here on its way to Kirkyard? I'll admit I did not go back and look to see what 337's power, or excuse me, 338. This would be 338, the eastbound move. I don't know for sure, but if this might be our... Craig, if you've got any information on it there. I saw Alan Hunt in there earlier as well. But this is something that we've been trying to figure out. Like, what kind of time slot does 338 hit if they're on schedule going into Kirkyard? And knowing that they run from the afternoon from Dubuque east, and then overnight, basically, from Freeport to Hawthorne, it would make sense that they're running the second morning coming up here toward Kirkyard. Yesterday was an eastbound on the nearest track. GTW to Kirk had A491 cars on it. That's interesting. Yeah, I think that the UP Power, when they have issues, they just kind of leave the doors open and maybe try to air it out a little bit. I don't know. That's probably a ridiculous statement to make. Wisconsin Central Hopper there. But as we're watching this guy pounding across the diamonds at Griffith, we will... Train that you just showed before the one that's on now went through Elkhart, Indiana earlier. Yes. That would make sense. Sarnia, Ontario to Kirk train. So as we back up here just a little bit further, we're going to see what we can find for one more roll by a little bit earlier in the morning. And as we back up and back up and back up, and I'm going back here, and I am not exact. Oh, there's the scanner radio going off. Somebody that was asking about that earlier. All right, and that was an X335.
945 east, center and south bend sub, at Griffith east, no restrictions out.
So there's a crew calling out the an eastbound crew calling them out as they go by. And we have another train making the connection off of the J to head east on the GTW. All right, well, just me. Good to see you contributing, as always. Nice to see you guys. Alan Hunt, that was an X335. Yep. And then boxcars for Wausau, Wisconsin. Big paper mill up in M338 this morning should be a BNSF-NS combo at Griffith. Yes. So the crew's calling out as they switch subdivisions. That's right. And that is exactly what we were fielding the question about earlier in the show. So, as we roll this guy by, lots of CN boxcars going by. This is another eastbound. And thank you everyone for tuning in today. Your other account got locked. No clue why. Interesting. All right. Well, yes, exactly. So, thank you everyone for tuning in today. We are going to be wrapping up the program as this last roll-by goes around the corner. We'll be back on the air at noon Central tomorrow. Look forward to seeing everybody then. Thank you for our, let's see here, we had 35 people online, so appreciate that as always. And as we roll this guy by, I'm just going to say that tonight I am going to be starting work on the next issue of Steel Highway. You still got a couple more hours. If you want to submit photos, email them to me. And otherwise, we will see everybody tomorrow. Check out steel-highway.com if you want to order a magazine. Put your order in now so you can have the next issue when it is ready to ship. So, everyone have a fantastic day, and I'm going to be logging off.